I wanted to make this short video about why I do not support intelligent design and why I do not believe Muslims in general should support the intelligent design movement. Now, before I explain why intelligent design as a movement should not be supported by Muslims, I want to explain the thinking behind it, why this is an important question to address. The problem we are facing in today's world is the problem of scientism, where there is an excessive, unnecessary, unwarranted belief in the scientific method being a means of the only root of knowledge and of solving everything and giving us absolute certainty in its conclusions. So this problem of scientism is very different to the field of science. The field of science is a beautiful field of science. It is a field which was pioneered, even the method itself, the scientific method, came from the Muslim world, came from Hassan ibn Haytham, who was the first scientist in history, and he is the one who came up with the inductive experimental method which we have today. All of the science today, you can trace back the modern scientific achievements today back to Hassan ibn Haytham. So we don't have a problem as Muslims with science. But the problem that we do have, and that any rational person should have, is with scientism. This excessive belief that science is the only root of knowledge, and this excessive belief that science's conclusions are certain. So scientism is this false belief. It's this idea that science is the only root of knowledge. Well, the first problem with that is this. What about mathematics? What about logic? Because science is based upon that mathematics and logic. So science cannot prove mathematics or logic is based upon it. Secondly, science cannot prove metaphysical truths. We know the world is real. We know other people have minds. Our mind is actually trustworthy. Causality, all these things, these metaphysical truths, science is based upon, but science cannot prove. Nor can science prove to us testimony. Majority of human beliefs are testimonial. So you believe in a country called Madagascar. Why? Because of testimony, because you've heard it from valid sources that this particular country exists. Even scientific theories themselves, we believe in them because of testimony of other scientists. So you believe and I believe that there is a scientific theory called the Big Bang Theory, and this scientific theory we base it not because we've done the experiments which show support for the Big Bang, but because of testimony of other scientists. And likewise, human knowledge is majority of human knowledge is based upon testimonial facts, on the fact that human beings testify that this thing is true. So this idea that science is the only root of knowledge faces a whole bunch of problems. Science is based upon mathematics and logic, science is based upon metaphysical truths, and science is based upon testimony, but none of these things can be proven to be true scientifically. Science is based on them. So science is a root of knowledge, but it's a very limited root of knowledge in what it can actually give you. And science can change, scientific conclusions can change, which is why science is fantastic. A scientific conclusion in chemistry, physics, or biology can be challenged in the future by new scientific findings. Why? Because of the problem of induction, or what is otherwise known as the black swan problem. You go out in the world, you want to know what the color of swans are, you assume, okay, I've seen 100 swans, these swans are white, so next swan is going to be white, or all swans are white. And in the future, you can come up with an observation like a black swan. That black swan is going to challenge your previous theory that all swans are white. Also, we have the problem of underdetermination of observation, that basically you have scientific theories, many scientific theories which can fit the same model. You can have the same data giving rise to multiple theories. So science's conclusions are not absolute, which is the beauty of science, and science is not the only root of knowledge. Keeping this in mind, why is it that intelligent design should not be supported? In this world of popularized scientism, there's this idea that we must come up with a scientific argument for God, or else it's irrational to believe in God. Now that's clearly irrational, because reason is a very broad category of knowledge, and a subfield of that is science, and we have rational reasons for God. We don't need scientific reasons for God. So this intelligent design movement is based on this idea that science should give us a proof for the existence of God. Two clear problems here. Number one, by science's own definition of methodological naturalism, science deals with physical effects being explained by physical causes. This methodological approach does not contradict Islam. As Muslims, you do science and we can assume, look, what I'm going to study, I'm going to assume physical causation is what we are trying to look for. Hassan ibn Haytham worked this way, the first scientist, so did the other Muslim scientists during the Golden Era, so do the Muslim scientists today, and so do Muslim, Christian, Jewish, atheist, Lady Gaga, whichever type of scientist you are, you can approach this methodological, naturalistic worldview. Even Darwin held this view. But outside of that, you can still hold views which are contrary to philosophical naturalism, the idea that nature is all that there is that exists. So you can believe in consciousness, you can believe in the existence of God, you can believe in the existence of the soul, you can believe in the existence of other minds. Philosophical naturalism is not the same as methodological naturalism. Now, intelligent design, by the very definition of methodological naturalism, cannot fit, because it proposes a designer which, the designer is not specified, but is not supposed to be something physical. It's, well, according to some proponents, intelligent design proponents, they try and support it by saying, it's just like the search for extraterrestrial aliens or whatever. So there's a big problem between intelligent design and methodological naturalism. They don't fit. Secondly, intelligent design reinforces the idea of scientism, that we need scientific proof for the existence of God, and science is the only root of knowledge, and science gives us certainty. This is why the intelligent design supporting this sort of thing does not work, because you are just reinforcing the problem of scientism. Thirdly, you are reinforcing the idea that scientific conclusions are written in stone, because if intelligent design was a correct scientific theory, what is the claim here? The claim is we have a scientific theory which can be falsified in the future. And obviously, that's not really an argument for God at all. So even if all the scientists in the world believed in intelligent design, what would it really amount to? It would simply amount to them believing in a theory which can be falsified in the future. And that is not something which fits in line with what the intelligent design proponents are actually even trying to do, which is they're trying to provide proof for the existence of God, scientific proof, but science doesn't give you proofs. Science gives you workable models which can then be replaced by future observations. This is why the intelligent design movement is not something that Muslims should support. And another way of actually thinking about it is this. So one of the reasons why intelligent design proponents or Muslims sometimes support intelligent design is because they say, look, Darwinian evolution contradicts the Quran, intelligent design doesn't, so let me support intelligent design. Well, I have news for you, because intelligent design is silent on human chimpanzee history. Human chimpanzee history is something which directly contradicts the Quran, and intelligent design is compatible with human chimpanzee history. Secondly, according to the Islamic creedal belief, everything is a creation of God, and every single thing has been designed and created by God. According to intelligent design proponents, look at the wording here, some biological features may be designed. Some, not everything. So it's not even compatible, even if it could work. And obviously, we as Muslims, we believe that Allah created the whole universe, God created everything, and God is the creator. And the problem with intelligent design is there is no designer which is specified. The designer could be an alien, the designer could be Ganesh, the designer could be the Christian God, could be whatever. And obviously we believe in the Christian God, we believe there is only one creator, but the point is it's completely unspecified. Now the problem is, if the designer is unspecified, the theory is untestable. So just to give you an example so you can understand this, imagine you and a friend are walking past a building. You're walking past a building which is crumbling. It's got some parts which is crumbling, but the rest of the building is put together okay. It looks functional still. Now, one person, say your friend, could turn around and say, that building is terrible. It's a terrible design, terrible designer, and clearly this was not designed. He could say that. You could say, no, the building is good design, but it's got some things. We don't know why it's crumbling at the moment. What you could do is you could come up with a criteria. Your friend could say, I think this building was designed for 50 years, and now we're walking past after 30 years. It should have survived those 50 years, therefore the design is bad. You can say, actually, this building was designed for 50 years and we're walking past after 500 years. Hence why the building is crumbling. Based upon your two different design specifications, you'll either say it's good design or bad design. Design cannot be judged by its own, like whether it's good or bad or optimal or suboptimal. It has to be based upon a specification. So if intelligent design is putting forward this theory that, you know, some things are designed and human chimpanzee history may or may not be true or whatever, then because they're not putting forward a designer, that is simply untestable. Now, what's very important is this. What's very important for us as Muslims to understand is that we have to take an Islamic scholarly approach to understanding science and to understanding how that fits within our mind in terms of the rest of knowledge. Now, in Islam, and even if you're not Muslim, if you understand the philosophy of science, you would know science doesn't lead to certainty and science is not the only route of knowledge. So just because there's a scientific theory which contradicts the Quran, which a part of Darwinian evolution actually does in terms of human chimpanzee history, it doesn't mean that you have to come up with a new theory to totally challenge that particular theory. Imagine if we actually did do that. Imagine if that was our methodological approach and you were a Muslim who existed 70 years ago during the time in which majority of scientists, not majority, all scientists, all physicists in the world believed the static state theory. They believed the universe was eternal. It always existed. And in its heyday, Einstein believed in this, Niels Bohr believed in this, all the physicists believed the universe is eternal. Quran says the universe has a beginning. Would you have accepted that as a working model and what we propose, you know, working model the same way as Darwinian evolution, and just not say it's absolutely certain and carry on? Or would you come up with an alternative theory to try and challenge the scientific, to try and challenge the eternal universe theory because it's not in line with the Quran? Imagine how many times you would have to do that because a new scientific theory came which seems to have contradicted the Quran. Now we can say the Big Bang came later, which is in line with the Quran in the sense that the Big Bang proposes, well, some models of the Big Bang propose the universe has a beginning, and that's in line with the Quran. But what if in 50 years' time there is another theory which challenges the Big Bang, which is proposing the universe is eternal? What are we going to do? Come up with a new version of the Big Bang? Come up with a new version where the universe has a beginning? This approach, if anybody was to follow it, is basically going to reinforce the idea that science is the truth, science leads to certainty, science is the way, and we must find scientific proof for God, we must find a scientific conclusion which is in line with the Quran. But that is only showing that you do not understand the philosophy of science, you do not understand the beauty of science and the fact that it's not the only route of knowledge, and it is something which can change by future observations. And you can have multiple theories based upon the same observations. This is a big misunderstanding and a big conflation between philosophical and methodological naturalism. So what we as Muslims need to do is keep away from supporting intelligent design. We just need to do a very simple job. We need to show the difference between the public understanding of evolutionary theory and the academic understanding. The public understanding is it's true, it's fact, and even the public understanding of science is it leads to certainty and it's the only route of knowledge, and the academic understanding is science is not the only route of knowledge, science does not lead to certainty, and Darwinian evolution is based on a probabilistic framework which has multiple assumptions and there are disputes about its most fundamental ideas. I hope you have understood through this video, and this video is mainly directed at Muslims rather than non-Muslims on this channel Darwinian Delusions, why Muslims should not support intelligent design. Rather, they should educate the public when they come across these issues about the difference between the public understanding and the academic understanding. Everything good I've said is from God, every mistake is my own. Thank you very much for listening. For more videos on about Darwinism, make sure you subscribe.